Hey everyone, this is Randy from BibleBuyingGuide.com. Today I'm taking a look at a Bible from the KJV Store. This is a brand new version of the Scofield wide margin. This one is in goatskin leather. Now what they've done is they have had Royal Jongbloed in the Netherlands to print and bind this in premium materials. And they went one step further and took the Scofield text digital print and cleaned it up and made it as clean as they can. So we have in my opinion, the absolute best version of the Scofield Study Bible that I've ever seen. Now they call it the Classic Study Bible because Scofield is under copyright, but this is from the 1917 edition, which they can produce. All right, so what we have is a goatskin leather, and this is good quality goatskin. This is what you would expect to see on anything from Schuyler, from R.L. Allen, the higher end things from Cambridge. This is good quality leather. And it has a calf split liner, edge lined of course, with gilt line. And this has a full yap. It actually overlaps. Goes over the full yap and overlaps. So for the leather, we have the goatskin with a touch of green. It looks to be a natural green. Perimeter stitching with the full yap. Then on a spine we have 6 raised hubs, and then the text is stamped in. I think these are Beresford ribbons. I did not confirm that, but they do seem to be. Double-sided satin, 3/8 inch, and they're a burgundy. Looks really elegant, and you can bend and shape this any way you want to. True art gilt, not just a little bit of a color, but a real red art gilt. Then the paper is 32 GSM Prima Bible paper from France. This is high quality paper. It's silky smooth. This reminds me of the paper that they used on the long primer about a decade ago. If you're familiar with the 32 GSM long primer, I think it's the same paper. In the front we have the older Cambridge presentation pages. And these are on the thick end sheets with family records, marriages, children, grandchildren, deaths. And then our 32 GSM Prima Bible paper. The paper is an ivory in color. I love the look and feel of this paper. Some of my favorite paper. It's not necessarily my favorite for wide margin. I did write on this. It's not my absolute favorite for writing. I do prefer 38 to 40 GSM for notes, but that would have made this Bible a lot larger. So we have translators to the reader. The text on this is dark and clean. This is easily the best print that I've seen on a Scofield. Introduction to the Scofield tells you how to use it. Then our index. Then we get into the Scofield. Each large section of the text has its own introduction. Then we have the book introductions, which are a couple of paragraphs. So they give you some good information on the book. And then we have our text in double column, verse by verse, with section headings within the text. There are a lot of section headings, and they can be a little bit difficult to find at a glance. Usher's chronology, and then we have center column references and footnotes. Now, they have footnotes as well as references, and it's a little difficult to find them, to figure out which is which. Paper has no glare under direct light, great for reading, highly opaque. And we have our notes at the bottom of the page. So if you're familiar with the Scofield, then you're familiar with these notes. It's exactly the same. And they're not notes. It doesn't include notes on every page. So you'll find a lot of pages without notes. The text is clean. Does not include self-pronouncing within the text. That's in the back. Good and dark. Now this was designed long before line matching was ever needed. Line matching is needed now because paper has more show-through now than it used to. It wasn't as much of an issue then. Plus, it's difficult to do that sort of thing by hand. And these are all typeset by hand. This setting is 100 years old. The text is 9-point, good and dark all the way through. This is a red letter edition, and that red is dark, bold, easy to read. Here's some of my writing. I've used a 005 pigment micron in blue. I like my notes to be a different color than the print if possible. So here's what it looks like on one side, and there's what it looks like on the other. No bleed through. It does show through, but it's not much. It's not bad at all. The references are interesting. They are chain references. It will give you the detailed information about the rest about that chain. It's interesting. At the end of the chain. Then we have an index. This is the index to the Scofield Study Bible. It gives you the introduction, the analysis, the notes, the definitions, summaries, subject references. A little bit of a topical study there. And then we have scripture, a dictionary of scripture proper names. It gives you the name, gives you the information about the person's name, about what the name means, and then gives you some references. It also includes the pronunciation guide. So instead of placing the pronunciation guide in the text, it's back here. I actually prefer this because in the text, I only need it a few times. Then once I learn it, I don't necessarily want to see that every time. Plus, I might say it different than they do. I'm Tennessean. All these tools in the back are the same as what you'd find in the long primer because they're Oxford. We also have a subject index. This is one of my favorite subject indexes. Excellent for study, excellent for sermon prep. Really good index. Very large index. And then a good concordance. Lots of material in there. Pretty good size. Pretty large. After the concordance is 16 pages for notes. I would like to see the notes title up a little higher because you have to write around it there. And they're not centered, so you see through on the other side. This is the regular Bible paper, so that's the 32 GSM. We have a mapped index, which I always prefer if it's possible. And it's especially helpful in this one because this uses the old Oxford maps. They're printed well, but sometimes the words are a little too bold and a little bit difficult to find, a little bit difficult to see, especially something like this. If you're into cartography, these won't be your favorite maps just because of how they're drawn. They are colorful. And that's it. Take a look at her size and weight. So if we bend this over and don't look at the yap, we have about 6.5 by about 9 1/4 by 1.5, and it weighs 2 pounds 14.8 ounces. I'm only going to compare it to a couple of Bibles. The first one is the Scofield wide margin from the KJV Store in lambskin. This is the first one that I reviewed. It is a good Bible. However, it's thicker than the goatskin, and it's just not as elegant. The lambskin I do like. I'm a lambskin fan, but this goatskin is more elegant, is thicker. It feels tougher. It feels like a better quality leather. The paper is the main difference, I'd say. The show through on the lambskin is more noticeable. Now this is the Made in USA edition, and the paper is not bad paper, but when you compare it to the Prima Bible paper, there's no competition. The Prima Bible is by far better paper. Less show through, easier on the eye because of that ivory, and easier to turn. Although this one is not difficult to turn. It's just, it doesn't feel elegant in your hand. You can see there let me zoom in. You can see a little bit more show through, especially in the red letter area. So if you're interested in a Scofield wide margin and you want the best you can get the Goatskin. The lambskin is a nice Bible, but the Goatskin is by far better. And probably the closest I have for the leather itself would be the Scholar in black Goatskin, the Canterbury. Just to compare the leather. They seem to be very similar. Same thickness, same material, same design on the liner. Same design in the corners and the way it folds over. It's made by the same people. They're both made by Royal Jongbloed. So there's how they compare. Similar design on the spine as far as the stamping quality, as far as the hubs. They're the same. Quality of the two for materials is the same. Except for this one has a little bit thinner paper. This one has the 28 GSM, and then that was the 32. This one, the paper is actually more expensive, but this one is still expensive paper. So that's my quick look at the wide margin KJV Study Bible in goatskin leather from the KJV Store. I like this Bible. If you're a Scofield fan, this is the one you want. I would use it even if I wasn't interested in writing in the margins, just because of the paper and just because of the print. The print quality is better. The paper quality is better. All the materials, everything about this is better. This is easily the best quality Scofield that I have ever seen. I've always said that Royal Jongbloed is my favorite in producing Bibles, and this is why. They take an old design and clean it up. This is a cleaner text, a cleaner font, cleaner print. Yeah, this is a good one. So if you're a Scofield fan, take a look at this one. You'll want this one. So I'll place a link in the notes so that you can make a purchase if you're interested. And also a link to BibleBuyingGuide.com where you can see more detail about this Bible, where you can see the written review and the photos. The KJV Store did provide this in exchange for an honest review. Honest reviews are always guaranteed at BibleBuyingGuide.com. Thanks for watching.